This is why you haven't seen me that much. But again, it might not feel like that. Anyway, wow. Haven't even had caffeine yet, but you really couldn't tell. I'm gonna go deal with this situation. Too much, and the way that it's used, don't like it. Not here for it. Anxious people, I thought it would be very applicable. I too am people, and I too am anxious. Oh, this is not what I expected. Pick a pile. Hello, welcome to a little weekend vlog. How are you? I hope you're good. It felt to me like I've a bit disappeared, but I'm still in the disappearance. It's just a dream. I don't think it would have felt like that to you, so it's all good. We're all good. We're good. I thought I'll film a little weekend vlog. I really want to do quite a bit of reading. You might have seen on Instagram, or if you're in the Patreon, you will have seen on Patreon that I've created a little Charmed inspired readathon for the Patreons. I have some prompts to fulfill, and I'm very behind of them, and I want my power. So we are gonna get me my powers. There's doubling up, so this one is going to get me a couple, I think. I think it's gonna summon my white lighter, and also, I mean, I could just look at the sheet, but anyway, I'm on page 247, which is literally 50% of the book, because again, when I went into it, didn't know that it was so long. This is actually a buddy read, but my buddy has finished the book like a month ago. That's just me. I am really bad at buddy reads. I knew that, and it's all fine. She's amazing. She doesn't mind. It's all good. But I finally picked it back up, so I read around like 30 pages yesterday, but I think it's probably like 50 pages since the last time I spoke with you. And this is a very misleading book, I feel like. My camera's about to die. It'll be sad times, but it's a very misleading book because it kind of shows itself as a sci-fi, and it shows itself as it's called Timeline. Did I even say it? It's by Michael... It's by the author that wrote Jurassic Park. Someone told me I think it was Crichton in the comments how to pronounce it. I think it's Crichton. So sorry if it's not. And it promises, obviously, as you can guess from the name, time travel, which, if you know me, is all the things I love the most. Sci-fi is my favorite genre, which I really should do more justice to this year for the remaining of the year, because I really have not. And I think that also would lead me to why I'm not enjoying reading as much, is because I'm literally ignoring, for the most part, my favorite genre. So it's very much self-inflicted, and I've been just doing a lot of thinking in general. There's a lot of things in my life that I want to change. There's a lot of, especially like outlook things. I'm just doing shadow work over here, just literally. This is why you haven't seen me that much. But again, it might not feel like that for you. Anyway, wow. Haven't even had caffeine yet, but you really couldn't tell. So yeah, this kind of promises the time travel and sci-fi elements, and there is. But the large proportion of this book actually focuses on 1300 French town dynamics, and we are kind of following a bunch of historians, and then life happens and they kind of get to travel back to this place where they're trying to rebuild it in current time. So like, things go wrong really badly really early on, but at the time now, I'm kind of thinking this is like verging on some type of historical fiction. There's like a big emphasis on linguistics, so if you are into old languages, I don't know how true it is, but I would assume that the author, like, it seems like the author did a lot of digging in that area, so there's a lot of like language differences, and it feels very authentic when I'm reading it, but I don't know. I am not an expert on that particular period in that particular town. It is in France, but it's all like kind of mixed with English. Yeah, so there's a lot of focus on that, and I think that's one of the reasons why it didn't kind of like compel me to pick it up. There's some stuff that happened in my life that I don't really want to get into, but at the point where I kind of stopped, they were just like changing their surroundings a lot, and that kind of has like a false beginning again, and that's just not the most compelling parts for me in the story. Like, I like to be really immersed and not really thrown around a lot. My life also like obviously hit me and then I didn't really have the wish to pick up a book, but the pause specifically where I paused this book also didn't help, if that makes sense.
You look outside and give a you. It's just another boring dawn. The sky looks gray on neighbors bound the floor. Your days are feeling just the same. For a long time you've been off your game. Don't care to play, don't care to keep us cold.
It's 3 o'clock just now, and me with the Patreons are doing a 30-minute sprint. I will continue cleaning because if I stop, this all is just gonna lay there for the rest of the weekend, won't it? But I had a rogue credit on my Amazon, like Audible, for a long time now, so I'm going to spend it on Mexican Gothic, and I think do 50-50 because I should have an audiobook either way, so that's perfect. So I'm starting Mexican Gothic then, and we'll see how we feel. Start talking. I did not record my update. Okay, anyway, it is 6:20 and I was supposed to be sprinting already for 20 minutes. I remembered an email, so I wanted to sort that out, so here I am. It's fine. The flat, well, not the flat, but this room is so clean. Like, I even cleaned all of the ridges and stuff, so I am just very happy with that. I've been listening to this Mexican Gothic. I have this really fun that one of you guys actually sent me. It's really beautiful. I just thought it would match the greenery. And I'm in the middle of chapter 4, so I don't even know how far that is. Around like page 43, I'd say. I'll just plop it in here. The audiobook is actually really good and I'm really enjoying it. So the book is about Nomi, but I can't remember how it says it in the audiobook, and if that's correct, I'll pay more attention next time I listen. But a book is about Nomi, who she wants to study anthropology, and anyway, that's kind of like a detail that might play into later, I'm not sure. And her father gets a letter from her cousin, who then the letter is really distressing, saying that she's really not having a good time in this new place with this new husband that she really suddenly and really kind of suspiciously got, and that someone should go and check on her. So he sends the daughter with the promise that if she does this, then she will be able to study anthropology, because otherwise this would not be proper lady stuff. I don't actually know what year this is set, but it's definitely not current. It's not modern, because the first thing that I've noticed, well, not the first thing that I've noticed, but the first kind of bit when we entered, everything moves really fast, by the way, but I'm already invested. I really like the balance between introduction and also just like fast moving pace, like going into the main plot. So I am, as I said, only like 40 pages in and I'm already at the mansion. Like, I'm already at the place that is supposed to be this like spooky haunted house thingy. I'm very intrigued already, so I'm really excited about that. The writing is on a more descriptive side, but I think maybe audiobooking some parts is like a really good call. So yeah, so far I really enjoyed the main character as well. She's quite sassy, she's very smart, but she's not too serious. Like, she's a bit of a nerd, but also likes to dance and party. But yeah, the first thing that I really like paid attention to is that the manor person, like the main dude in the manor, and in general there's a lot of talk about eugenics, which is disturbing, and I like it because obviously this is supposed to be a horror novel and it's one of the most fucked up views that actually existed, in my opinion. So it's just interesting. It's interesting to explore that from, I'm assuming, the time that this is happening. So very interesting. Does it actually say at the back what time? Oh, what year is it? Oh, it does. 1950s. So this would be past eugenics. Didn't eugenics happen earlier? I don't want to have this in my Google search. A tiny bit earlier, but it's actually not that earlier. I think it was, the origins go further, but it was definitely during the Second World War, so kind of, the more you know. Anyway, it was definitely one part of the history that was really intriguing to me just because of the fuckery. So here we are. That's the update, but now I really must go read. Hey Junker. Hi. You good? Are you good? Hello, welcome to Sunday morning. It's 10 o'clock, so it's not actually that early, but I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I've been feeling on and off under the weather the past week, so I'm going to try and take it very easy and relax as much as I can, and just you know, I washed my hair yesterday but didn't have the energy to actually deal with it, so I just put it in a bun and that was that. But I think it is time for me to actually deal with it. I'm gonna be doing that. What I need to focus on, this is the sheet for the readathon. I think I definitely also need to focus on Mexican Gothic for the little readathon. Looks such a mess. Anyway, Mexican Gothic, I'm in the middle of chapter 5, so I'm just like 55 pages in, which now that I think of, I think I really did just updated you recently, but I'm gonna listen to it while I do my hair, which is probably gonna be a good hour or so, maybe a little bit less, but around that time. So far my least favorite thing about the book is perhaps the writing style. Anyway, I'm gonna go deal with this situation. It's one of those times where I put too much oil in my hair when it's dried and too much product, and then it dries and doesn't feel clean. Love that, love that. So if you can hear the washing machine in the background. I am in the middle of chapter 6 in Mexican Gothic. Still same thoughts. I don't have any new thoughts for sadly. But what I do have is a couple of new books that I've accumulated over the last couple of weeks. I'll just go ahead and do that and show you guys here. Hi, pretty. What's up? Are we hanging today? Zeus is hanging with us today. Yeah. Cute. Cute. It's rubbing on the books, so I think the books are officially welcome to the family. I was also sat here like just looking at my shelves. I think I might want a change from the rainbow shelves. I love them, don't get me wrong. That's why I had them for so long. Then I swapped, and then I had them again, and then I had them once more and more and more. But please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Good boy. I was thinking of maybe doing something else with the shelves, just for a change. Maybe it's time. So I don't know, let me know in the comments what you do with your shelves. Do you do them alphabetically? I don't think I want to. If I'm gonna do something, I'm maybe gonna just do it by genre, by type. I just might want like a change. It's been great, but it's been a long while now that we had the same stuff. So what do you think? How do you, if you have shelves, what do you do with them? Not quite sure, just the thought. Not that I need more projects, but anyway, let's go ahead and go through some books. However, so I only have kind of like, I have 5 in total, but it's actually kind of more so 2 things because there are 2 categories. So I have stuff from the Avatar: The Last Airbender realm. I am a massive fan. I have been since school years. The second book to the Rise of Kyoshi just came out, and I obviously had to get it. I actually really enjoyed the first one, sorry. I was really worried about it because I wasn't sure how it's gonna translate into like an actual written novel, but I was really pleased with it. It gave 4 stars if I remember correctly. And this one is called The Shadow of Kyoshi. I also really like the covers. Obviously we follow Kyoshi, who is the avatar before, not just before Aang, I think before a couple removed from Aang. So I have this. Not quite sure when I'm gonna get to it, but hoping for this year. And then I have this, which I was so confused because I was speaking to a friend as well, and I was like, I'm so confused how I didn't know that this is out. I only got it recommended after I got the other one, I think. And then I was like, wait, there's a new one. And the issues were going throughout the years, but the library edition only just came out in June. But even then, I don't know how I missed it when it originally came out. This is the 6th, I think, kind of like big volume of the Avatar comics. They're really cool. They follow they follow the events directly after the show ends for Avatar stuff. So some of them are a bit more hit and some of them are a little bit more miss for me. I loved the Promise the most because we get an answer to a very long-awaited question, which is the story of Zuko's mother. So if you're super interested in that, I would highly recommend reading that. And so some of the stuff is amazing. Some of the other things are kind of annoying because specifically the mention of word sweetie, it's too much. It's too much, and the way that it's used, don't like it. Not here for it. That particular couple aside, I cannot explain to you how much I love the world and everything about it. So here we are. And then I have 3 books by an author that I have been slightly avoiding because I knew it's gonna wreck my soul. There's only a couple, like I don't cry in books easily whatsoever. I could count on one hand the amount of times that I teared up or cried from the books. However, I have very soft spots for anything to do with animals and also old men. I don't know. It is what it is. I first heard about this book, this particular one, from my friend AJ, and then I think Cody, and then Murphy, and both AJ and Murphy are like just so adamant that this is like an author by author, and they keep talking about it, and I guess I'll try it, but I know this is gonna be like self-inflicted dagger to my heart. But I think sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need to, like, I used to do that more so with movies, and I would watch something just to like literally get destroyed, and I cry in the movies very easily. It's just the books that have to try harder. The particular book that I'm talking is The Man Called Ove, or Ovi, I'm not sure. I think this is a Scandinavian author. It's by Fredrik Backman. I definitely know that they need to be translated. Swedish, okay, it's a Swedish author. So The Man Called Ovi is about... Ovi is almost certainly the grumpiest man you will ever meet. He thinks himself surrounded by idiots, joggers, neighbors, who can reverse a trailer properly, and shop assistants who talk in code. But isn't it rare these days to find such old-fashioned clarity of belief and deed, such unswerving conviction about what the world should be, and a lifelong dedication to making it just so? In the end, you will see there is something about Ovi that is quite irresistible. So it's about an old man, a grumpy old man. I just know I'm gonna get wrecked due to the 2 people that I already mentioned. Is quite a short one, and this one is, and every morning the way home gets longer and longer, and I think this deals with dementia in some capacity. And again, we have an old man because the universe knows how to get to me. Isn't that the best of all life's ages? An old man thinks as he looks at his grandchild, when a boy is just big enough to know how the world works but still young enough to refuse to accept it. Oof. Grandpa and Noah are sitting on a bench in a square that keeps getting smaller every day. The square is strange but also familiar, full of sweet scents and the hyacinths that Grandma loved to grow in her garden. As they wait together, they tell jokes and discuss their shared love of mathematics. Grandpa recalls what it was like to fall in love with his wife and what it was like to lose her. She's as real to him now as the first day he met her, but he dreads that day when he won't remember her. This peculiar space that is growing dimmer and more confusing all the time is where they will learn to say goodbye, the scent of hyacinths and the air, nothing to fear. So that's gonna destroy me, number 2. And then the most recent one is, I think, something that came out actually really recently, but I just didn't know that. I was like, I'm just convinced that I'm gonna like this author without even trying, because, as I said, some people that I really agree with, and like just the premise, I really don't have any doubts about this, which is dangerous now in retrospect, because what if I don't like it? But anyway, the next one is Anxious People. I thought it would be very applicable. I too am people, and I too am anxious. It just seems very niche and it seems very targeted, so, you know, here to be called out. But also, I don't actually even, oh, hello. Interesting end papers. So what are you about? So this is gonna be the first time of me actually reading the synopsis as well, because I bought this one blindly. And I'm actually so excited to read it. I have like a slight wish to just not even read the synopsis and just go into it not knowing what to expect, but I also think maybe I should. In a small town in Sweden, it appears to be an ordinary day, but look more closely and you'll see a mysterious masked figure approach a bank. 2 hours later, chaos has descended. A bungled robbery has developed into a hostage situation, and the offender is refusing to communicate their demands to the police. Within the building, fear quickly turns to irritation for the 7 strangers trapped inside. If this is to be their last day on Earth, shouldn't it be a bit more dramatic? But as the minutes tick by, they begin to suspect that the criminal mastermind holding them hostage might be more in need of rescuing than they are. Oh! This is not what I expected. I am so excited. That's crazy. Okay, so I'm assuming these are the 7 people. There's more at the back. Yeah, so these are gonna be the people. Oh, that's so cool. So you get a little illustration of the people who are involved as well. That is so interesting. I might have to bump this up even higher. I don't know. I don't know which book to start with because I'm just excited about them all. But I am getting a headache, so I'm gonna take some painkillers and go lay down. I think that's the plan. I think I'm actually gonna do a little bit, scratch myself, anyway. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of work as well, so I'm not too overwhelmed tomorrow. Mondays are usually pretty, annoying. Mondays are usually pretty intense over here, so to make my life a tiny bit easier, I think I'm gonna sit and do a bit of work. Oh. Sorry, I just looked at myself in the viewfinder and I looked crazy, so hurrah. Anyway, I'll put the song that I've been obsessed with because it just hits different. Do some tibbity tabbity. Hello! This is a completely different day. I got kind of wrapped up in a different project during the weekend, so there's nothing to really update you on, but a ridiculously weird, strange amount of requests to do some tarot oracle readings at the end of my vlogs like I used to, like a year ago, just kind of recently, so I thought I will take it as a sign and I'll include it in this one. Just before I go into the tarot oracle bit that I have planned for the rest of this vlog, or for the end of this vlog, I really want to thank the new members of the Mooney Club or Mooney Space, which is my Patreon family. Thank you so much for joining, and the ones that joined in the Mooney Loonies tiers or the G's Army in the month of August, so that the September perks come in. Was that English? So I would love to welcome Katie, Melissa, Kelly, Deborah, and Olivia. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you will enjoy the space. I hope you will enjoy the Discord. Don't forget to join the Discord because your tier includes it. And I can't wait to read books with you and chat with you and get to know you. And I just really hope you find the family as welcome as I do. If you don't know, I use tarot as a self-reflection tool and as a meditation tool and something to really focus on and set my intentions, and I really love it. It has helped me so immensely to work on myself through the years. As I said, I used to do that sometimes at the end of the vlogs where people like attune to a pile and then pick a pile and then see if anything resonates and if they want to work on something within themselves or just set an intention for the next week. And I thought I'll do that today. So obviously, as a disclaimer, this is a tool I would suggest using in a way that seems right to you. This is obviously a general reading, so if something resonates, please take it. If something doesn't, then maybe it's not for you, and just let it go, that part. And if this kind of thing is not your thing, that's totally fine, and I'll just say goodbye to you here. So yeah, I think that being said, I will leave you with the tarot bit, and I hope it resonates with you. I hope it's helpful somewhat, and yeah. Hello, so I would like you to really just tune in into this, get ready to pick up on things that really spark something within yourself. If something correlates or something sparks some sort of further thought in you, grab onto that and see what it can do for you to make you feel better in the long term or just do some work. If something doesn't resonate, don't dwell on it for too long, but I would like you to just kind of meditate for a little bit while I speak and pick a pile. This is pile number 1, this is pile number 2, and this is pile number 3. I'm going to put some crystals on top in case you enjoy picking it based on that. So on the first pile, I'm going to put an amethyst. Pile number 2 will have an agate, and then pile number 3 is rose quartz. If you need a little bit more time, obviously you can just pause the video a little bit and see which pile calls for you. I will leave the timestamps down below as well if you just want to jump to the one that you picked. And I'll see you over there. Hello, pile 1. Thank you for selecting these cards. I have 2 tarot cards and then a couple of oracle deck cards to kind of clarify what the cards kind of suggest and to see what other directions we get from that. But to begin with, for your next week, let's see what the tarot cards represent. Ooh, 8 of Pentacles and the Hermit. What a beautiful combination. I don't know if I ever had them together. So 8 of Pentacles is all about hard work, but also being extremely patient with yourself. You might have been going through a lot at work or at home, and I kind of feel like possibly both. Most likely it's both. Maybe your plate is just very, very full at the moment and you are trying to kind of pull into yourself more because you're just overwhelmed by everything that's going on around you. Maybe you are getting a little bit frustrated with everything and the deadlines, and maybe it's a slow burning project, or you're mastering a skill that's just a bit hard, and there's a lot of time for you to still master the skill, and that you should above all be very patient with yourself, patient with the projects, patient with your goals, but especially patient with yourself so you don't burn yourself out, and that you have enough of your joy in other areas that are not necessarily work related. And when I say work, I mean this loosely, as in any type of work that you do, anything that requires significant effort or anything that is meaningful to you actually. The Hermit is all about looking within, like taking yourself out of the situation that is possibly overwhelming, or just taking some time to reflect on yourself. So if you feel like you would really like to just kind of take a good chunk out of this week for yourself, and maybe even doing things that you used to enjoy, maybe you used to enjoy painting, maybe you used to enjoy, I don't know, even like crosswords and stuff like that. If you have something that you think would be good for your soul this week, I'd say it's a great time to do that. This also seems like a really great incentive to reevaluate the projects you might have going on. Do they still bring you joy? Do you still see the finish line as something that you will be super proud of, or are you losing it yourself a little bit in the process? If you are, just hone yourself back in and see where you could maybe change in order to get more fulfillment in the meantime. But above all, is to be patient, to continue what you're doing because you're doing great, but to be patient with yourself, especially if you're getting a little bit restless, and if it's something that doesn't give instant gratification, doesn't mean that there's not rewards that you receive. And maybe that's something to kind of meditate on, and then reflect to see maybe there are rewards that you're just not noticing as much because they're not as intense as you would normally be expecting them to be. So overall, it's also kind of about gratitude, and if you feel inspired, or if you feel like it's something that would benefit you, maybe gratitude journaling this week would be a great choice as well. It's a lot of contemplating, a lot of reflection on what you're doing and your projects and your workload. Maybe it's something that you would like to bring up with any other people if you have, if this is relating to work. Maybe you would like to speak to your coworkers or your manager to see if your workload is all okay. If there's anything that you're worried, maybe it's a good time to reflect on that. If this is a home situation, maybe you're caring a bit too much, or maybe you are not noticing the way that the people that you live with, if you live with anyone, show gratitude, and something to talk about or is something to reevaluate with yourself. This is not really like showing that you have to make any changes to begin with. It's more so to reflect on things and see if there are changes that you could make that would make you overall a bit more content. So those are the 2 cards for tarot, and then let's see your oracle deck. Okay, so the first one, elemental magic. Okay, so for me this is more so a relaxation suggestion. If you feel a particular pull towards a certain element overall in life, or just currently, maybe it's earth, maybe you can get a plant or take care of, show extra love to the plants you already have, reward yourself with some really nice loose tea. If it's fire, maybe you would like to surround yourself with some candles. If it's water, bath time, foot soaks. If it's air, maybe getting out a little bit to get some fresh air. Basically, it's always good for us to get back to earth and kind of surround yourself with little routines that we can implement and little rituals that we can implement into every day to kind of ground ourselves, because I feel like anything that you do there, not only is it relaxing, it's probably good for you, it's probably good for your stress levels, it also, I feel, it helps you ground yourself because you remember that you're part of this, you know, you're part of this big picture. Okay, the next card we got, Pleiades? I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it says a double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. All right, so this is definitely more so about the people that surround you, and maybe there's someone who is struggling with their workload. Maybe there's someone who is in the same team you are and are struggling with the workload, or maybe it's someone at home would really benefit from you talking to them about being patient, especially if there's a younger person in the house. At the same time, it's channeling humanity, so maybe learning from those around you who have gone through things, and learning from those around you, even if it's tiny things that they do that you admire, taking that, trying to implement that into your day as well. All of these cards have such a calm energy though, all of them. You have meditation here, you literally have meditation here. This is the most meditative state probably you can reach in tarot. You have such a calm, unity, massive space sense here, and even in this card it's all about patience and being calm and being still in the moment. So I feel like this week would be a great time to just kind of focus on having that beautiful still energy and not being the victim of the rush that we have in the society currently, where everyone is just like running and productivity is seen as something that people value more so than anything else. You are not your productivity. You are so much more than just the ticked boxes of the things that you have done. So I think this is the week that you would benefit from a little bit of that mindset, reminding yourself that you are not your to-do list. Next one is storm. Every hurricane comes to an end. So it kind of seems like you might have had a very tumultuous, like a very fast episode, very chaotic time recently, and everything, literally everything about this is saying take a breath, be still, enjoy the stillness, and productivity is not everything, and just trust in the process. You've done this before, you've taken the steps, trust in the process, trust that it leads somewhere. Be patient, remind others to be patient, check in with yourself and find some stillness. Now, the last card I have is for some shadow work. If you don't want to, or you're not ready to do some shadow work is basically just working on yourself and on the bits that we would rather maybe not see sometimes. I have a card for each deck, but if you don't want that, that's totally fine, and you can skip this bit as well. That is Parasite. All right, so this is obviously, this is talking about you with the relationships that you have in your life. Check in and see that you're not taking too much from others. That does not necessarily mean monetarily. This could be energy. Are you maybe expecting more so from your friends, your family, your loved ones? Are you expecting a bit too much? Are you demanding to receive more than you should? Checking that you're not contributing to their chaos, checking that you're not putting any extra stress on them, maybe by bringing your own insecurities, or maybe if it's literally just expecting more help from them that you are giving them, just checking if the balance is intact. A very strong message for pile ones. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a very still and meditative week ahead of you. Make sure to take care of yourself and just remember that you're doing good. You're doing good. It's all good. Just take a breath. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to me. I hope something resonated here, and that you will, yeah, have a wonderful week. Hello, pile 2. Welcome to your little reading. Thank you for tuning in, and let's check your 2 tarot cards right here, and then I have some oracle cards here to clarify the points and then give extra guidance or suggestions. So the first 2 cards are 10 of Swords and 4 of Wands. Very interesting duo. Okay, so both of these cards indicate a change, but a very different change from one another. When those cards are together, to me it seems like maybe it is up to your perspective. Ten of Swords in general is a card of a very big loss. Maybe you feel really defeated at the moment. Maybe you're going through a particularly rough time. Life is very overwhelming. Maybe you feel like you're losing trust in someone that you felt like you can rely on very heavily. Maybe you're just having a really difficult time currently. However, the Four of Wands is a card of celebration. It's a card of new beginnings. It's a card of being joyful and embracing life and celebrating life. So to me, this reads more so as to look into any situation that comes your way from 2 perspectives, to maybe challenge your negative interpretations, even if the situation is inherently quite negative. Maybe try and find the beauty in it, the positives in it, and something to celebrate. If you have lost someone close to you, obviously grief, and you need to go through that grief, but maybe also try and remember their life and celebrate and learn from them, and just have feeling within yourself of how wonderful it was that I had this person in my life to begin with. What you can take from that friendship, what can you take from that relationship. This could relate to so many things in life. This could just be your mood. Maybe you're just stuck in a place where you wake up and you feel defeated. You wake up and you're really struggling to go through the day, and you don't know what to do. Maybe it is just trying to find the joy in the smallest of things. Maybe it's a tiny thing that you can do for yourself and celebrate your life and celebrate breathing and being alive. It might be just a lot of emotions, and it might just be learning to control and turn those emotions to benefit you. Both of these things definitely talk about change and how you deal with change, and how your perspective can drive how you will feel for a lot of the time after the change happens. Change is difficult, but change is also often celebrated, and I think that's something that we should take forward, and a lot of us could be reminded of from time to time, even if it's coming from me now, or maybe later during the week. You can remind yourself that as well, and remember all of the other change that maybe happened throughout the hard time where you had before and led to some really positive changes. For the oracle cards, so first up we got abundance. Oh, that's perfect. Abundance is just having a lot of something. Abundance is being overwhelmed by the positivity and by the things that you have. So this would definitely be a great example of how to look at things a bit more from a celebratory kind of viewpoint, just celebrating things that you have, celebrating the things that you've gotten from a person, relationship, event, life in general, and yourself, especially yourself. Abundance is appreciating things that are given to you, that you earn, that you already have, and we all have something. So we can find abundance in things we have. We just, as humans, we always want more. But I feel like this week would be a great time to focus on things we already have, even though it would be so much easier for us to just point at the million things that we feel don't have enough of. Maybe we have really amazing friends that are always there for you. Maybe we have one friend that you can always rely on. Maybe it's your pets that bring you joy. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's libraries. Maybe it's the available text for you to read. It could be everything and anything, but it's a very beautiful card, and I think it ties up with these two really well as well. Then we have take a break. Life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. So maybe you have been really working yourself away. Maybe this kind of relates a lot to the first pile as well, but this kind of seems like you have been overworking recently. It could be mentally, it could be literally at work or at home. Maybe you're working too much on your hobbies and you feel like they're not really giving you the product that you want. Remember that what matters is your well-being. Remember that what matters is how you feel at the end of the day. And if you feel run down, and if you feel like you cannot, if you feel like Ten of Swords, basically, if you feel like you're just too overwhelmed to do anything, you feel like great loss, and maybe you didn't even lose anything, but you just can't get out of that mindset, which I think we can all relate to at some levels and at some points of our life. And I think that take a break is a great advice. Not necessarily easy. I find it very difficult, and I know a lot of people find it very difficult to actually take a break. A surprising amount of people are so bad at taking a break. I definitely don't have it mastered, but I think it's very important to find ways to celebrate life. Remind yourself to move and to be free and to exercise your creative brain and just have some fun in life rather than just working 9 to 5 and then continue working and just overworking and focusing on all of the things that you could have had and you don't have, you know. Flip it around and exercise the opposite, basically. And then we have Sundress, do it for you. That's perfect. It's pretty self-explanatory. I think it's just saying that maybe it's a good idea to just do it for you. Maybe you've had some hobbies in the past that you really loved, but you don't do it now because it's not beneficial. It doesn't bring you profit, it doesn't bring you anything extra, it would just be for fun. Do it for fun. Want to play the game? Play the game. Want to read a book? Read a book. Want to say no to some people? Say no and do what else you want to do instead. And then as with the other piles, I do have a shadow work pile, which just means that something that is, it usually deals with more so things that would critique yourself, and if you're not doing deep shadow work with yourself, or if you don't want to hear anything at the moment, it's totally fine. But if you do, I'ma just open that up. Okay, we have hiding your true self. So this card usually speaks more so about hiding your true self because you feel like you're not going to be accepted for one reason or the other. So you put on a lot of the masks depending on the situation, so you would be easier liked, easier loved, more missed, more appreciated, respected more. It can be a pretty destructive and a pretty unhealthy habit if you get a bit too lost in that and then you don't feel like you can even open up with yourself. So for the deep work, it would definitely be suggesting to get back to your true self, be honest with yourself, and confronting the things you don't seem you like about yourself. And you don't necessarily have to do this with anyone else. You can just start with yourself and just confronting things you really don't like about yourself and accepting them. You start working on loving yourself how you are to the point where you don't need to change to please others. But yeah, my pile 2, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope some of this resonated. I hope you will take something useful from this. If not, that's fine too. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you at the end of this vlog. Hope you have a lovely week. Hello pile 3, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you will enjoy the little reading that I got here going on. I have 2 tarot cards to see the overall feel, and then a couple of oracle cards to get some clarification and some actionable points. So let's check. Ooh, 6 of Pentacles and 6 of Cups. So we definitely have a big 6 energy. If that is a number that's significant to you in any way, then that's even better. But anyway, 6 of Pentacles and 6 of Cups are both very interesting cards. So 6 of Pentacles is all about giving and receiving. So there's definitely a lot of that energy floating about. Seems like it just always reminds me of Joey from Friends. It's about finding the balance, like maybe checking in with yourself if you have been giving enough to other people, and if you have maybe been giving a lot to someone, have you been receiving an equal amount or like a satisfying amount from them? This could be emotionally, this could be time-wise. We need to learn to value our time, definitely, because I think a lot of us are guilty of just forgetting that time is currency because we don't have the infinite amount of that. And the amount that you spend on people around you needs to be worth it. It needs to benefit you in one way or the other. That could be, you know, just receiving fun, relaxation, or receiving something that is of benefit in one way or another. So just making sure that you're spending your time wisely, spending your money wisely, spending your resources wisely this week. And Six of Cups is all about nostalgia, and it's so beautiful. So this could be a perfect time to check in with your family, your old friends, revisiting old memories. Great week to reminisce. The Six of Pentacles is also talking about being charitable and being a little bit freer with what the resources you have and seeing if maybe other people don't have that resource. It's also talking about people from your past a lot, so maybe it is time to check in with the friend that you haven't spoken to in a while, or it's maybe a good time to check in if your grandparents, if you still have them, or parents, or anyone from your life that are maybe older, need any help and are just too proud to ask for it. And they're suggesting that it's maybe your time to take care of someone this week, and maybe it is time to reevaluate your time, but also make sure that you are giving it to people that have already deserved it from the help that and the energy and everything that they put into you and creating you as a person and making you the person you are today. And checking in if they are okay. This again could be a friend, a guardian, carer, a parent, any type of parental figure, or anyone, even if you haven't, anyone that really touched you in the past and you maybe have not checked in a while. This could be a great resolution to set for this week if you feel like it. So let's see what the oracle are telling. Release. Okay, this could be also talking about looking through your mental catalog of things that you're holding a grudge for. Could be something from your past again, because the past really is coming up in the Six of Cups. Maybe there is someone that you have been holding a grudge from. Maybe it's something you have not forgiven someone yet. Maybe it is time to release that, because if anything, it poisons you more so than anyone else. It is extraordinarily clear that we as humans think about ourselves more often than anyone else will, and we also often think that other people keep us in mind more than they do. That is not meant in a negative way whatsoever, but a lot of the times it's actually a positive, because a lot of the time we think that, oh, this bad thing happened and this other person must constantly think about it too, but in reality we're the ones that are keeping that grudge, or we are the ones that remember this particular line that other person might not even know hurt us or kind of like rubbed us the wrong way. This is a great time to just reach out and have a calm conversation, or just letting them know, so you don't have to carry that with you. I think I always think that is such a good thing to do. I, as a person, I just really try not to carry anything onwards, because I feel like, you know what, life's too difficult to begin with. Life is difficult. I don't want extra baggage. If I can clear it up, I will. If you don't feel ready to do that, because obviously it's not always as easy and a lot of situations are way more complicated, then it's good to maybe write it down. It's good to maybe release it in that form then, so it doesn't have to, you know, it doesn't pay rent. Those thoughts don't pay rent in your mind, so maybe it is time to at least release them on the page, write it down, lock it away, burn it, whatever you want to do with it, but put it out of your mind in one way or the other, so you can then focus on other things in your life. Okay, and then we have the crumbling. What are you clinging on to? I could not make this up. Yeah, it's pretty much speaking about the same thing. I feel it's, if there's anything you are really clinging to, are just kind of tired of it. It stops you from going into a happier self. It stops you from moving on to other thoughts. And again, as I was saying about reevaluating if you're spending your time in a worthwhile manner with the giving and receiving card, equally so, this could apply to things like your mental space. It doesn't actually have to be time as we know it. It could just be your mental time. Are you spending too much time thinking about something that is really not benefiting you? Is it worth it? And maybe should you stop it? Should you shift your perspective? Should you release yourself from those thoughts because they're not serving you anymore? And another one we have read, forgive. Okay, so this is what I was just saying. Those are literally, all of these cards are talking about releasing something from yourself. If it's a grudge, forgive someone else. If it's something that's daunting you that you have done and there's nothing you can change, everything has already happened, because I do believe this is definitely talking about more so in the past stuff. If there's nothing you can change and you cannot make sure that the people that you think you wronged, maybe there's nothing you can do to them anymore. There's like you've already tried that. If not, then obviously do that. It would be a good idea to do that. But also self-forgiveness. If you're holding a grudge against yourself, that could be really, really hard, and that can be really exhausting. And if it's not serving you, and also not serving those you think you wronged, then you're just punishing yourself, and you think that by punishing yourself, and you might think that by punishing yourself you're doing something about it, or that you deserve it, and that you, by punishing yourself, you think that, oh, it's okay because I don't feel good about it. You don't have to feel good about whatever you did, but you feeling bad every day about something you have done doesn't benefit anyone. You cannot pour out of an empty glass, so just make sure that your glass is not empty. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. If you have done everything that you can, maybe it is time to look into forgiving yourself as well. If it is about someone else, again, it is just more so a poison in your own mind, then it doesn't do anything to hold that grudge, no matter which way it goes. So that turned kind of a little bit deeper either way, but I do also have a shadow work card. If you're not interested in shadow work, you can totally skip this card. Shadow work is just work on the, one can say, less desirable characteristics of yourself. I don't really see it as that. I just see it as like a harder work on yourself, because it's not something that's super fluffy and happy, but just to make sure that your decision making is not influenced by that. I just also realized that I wasn't filming for a while, so I'm hoping it wasn't a long time, but well, it kind of was. But the card was revenge, and all I really said was to focus that your decision making is not actually based on you wanting to get revenge, which really tied in with all of the rest of the cards, saying that this might be talking about going through the grudges and going through all of the kind of less desirable emotions that you might hold towards yourself or others. So it just seems like a good time to focus and do a little bit of work on that, and make sure that revenge is not something that motivates you. There we are. So thank you so much for tuning in, Pile 3. I hope you have an amazing week, and I hope you have enjoyed this reading and you found something that resonated with you. If not, that's totally fine too. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I have some really exciting things in the planning. I know I've been kind of like stagnating on what I'm posting here. Has been basically mainly vlogs. There's definitely some things coming through, so just bear with me, I'll get there. But I hope you guys are well, have a wonderful week, and I'll chat to you in the comments. Bye.